today our conversation centered on elections. As you are aware that Africa is conducting a number of elections this year, so it was important to gauge citizens' perceptions around elections. We rooted our discussions on the Afrobarometer data on what citizens think when it comes to elections. While this data show that citizens still have trust in elections, our CSOs in the room, they managed to learn from the different AU organs who were part of the conversations that one of the challenges that they are facing is that some of the countries, they have ratified the African Charter on elections and democracy, but they have not domesticated. This is one of the challenges that then puts some of the AU organs in a difficult position to encourage member states to abide by the rules of the African Charter because they wouldn't have domesticated the ACDEC in their countries. So CSOs in the rooms, they've been encouraged by the AU organs present to go and lobby their different member states to ratify and to also domesticate the African Charter on democracy, human rights and elections.
Today's discussion on elections have been great, have been informative. Afrobarometer data shows that there is still strong support for choosing leaders through regular, free and fair elections. And this is very good because there have been great concern, particularly around coups in the sub-region and what that means for democracy in Africa. Also, there is high political participation, particularly when it comes to voter turnout. However, there's just a bit of concern where you would notice from the data it's clear that citizens who are younger, that is between 18 and 35, are less likely to vote compared to citizens who are much older, which is a great concern. That needs a lot of education around the importance of the efficacy of a vote being one's voice in accountability. So today have been great.
I'm very glad to have been part of this convening, particularly to look at the commitments that have been made by African governments to promote the participation of youths in governance, particularly in elections. I had the privilege to lead a discussion on looking at the distance between policy commitments and practice insofar as promoting youth participation in elections is concerned. The scorecards produced by African Lee on this subject are very helpful in terms of showing the commitments that have been made by AU member states and the gaps that exist in terms of legislative and policy measures undertaken at the domestic level to implement the commitments that have been made at the regional level. So I'm very happy to have been part of this conversation.
In this presentation and discussions, I was able to emphasize the fact that electoral governance goes well beyond the election day and the action of voting on election day, and requires citizens to be seized of aspects of dealing with the outcomes of the elections from the perspectives of recommendations that can improve transparency, fairness and credibility of the elections, as well as undertaking reforms that ensure that aspects of inclusion and marginalization are also adequately addressed as part of the wider democracy effort. Having these discussions with organizations from the region that are engaged in advocacy around governance was very useful because we were able to tap into their respective experiences of what it takes to advocate for policy and institutional reforms around elections, and the opportunities that exist for creating partnerships and coalitions that actually ensure a broad-based approach to improving the electoral landscape, not just in Ghana, but around the continent.
My takeaway point is about the need for youth involvement in political participation. Now, as a youth organization that is using data in our work, I feel that the whole project of Data for Governance Alliance has come to build our capacity in the use and management of data in decision making, even at our organizational level. Because 2024 is an electioneering year in Ghana, and we're dealing with young people. It has built our capacity to see how we can mobilize young people, to educate them and sensitize them to go out and vote, reinforcing the need for us to vote based on issues and not for political parties or who we know.